The Miami Dolphins dominate the New England Patriots 34-15 to pick up their third straight win, move their record to 5-6, firmly in the playoff hunt, a half game back of the Broncos as of filming this. Also, now are the first team outside of the postseason as they leapfrog Indianapolis after they lose to the Lions today. And on today's show, we are going to break down our instant reaction from the win, takeaways, and look ahead to maybe Thursday's game against Green Bay. And the real takeaway from this one is just how efficient this offense has become. And it's just been a different style of offense. It is really not the deep shot, crazy, beat you with 50-yard bombs to Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle anymore. It's just pure efficiency. And although the running game of Miami has not been good for the third straight week, which is a concern of mine, we'll talk about that later on in the show and probably tomorrow on our overreaction videos. But once again, Tua Tagovailoa on his back, carrying this Dolphins offense, not turning the ball over, picking apart zone, picking apart man defenses, throwing almost 75% completion percentage, 29 of 40. So once again, a 70+% completion percentage day from the quarterback for Miami. Jaylen Waddle finally broke out. I mean, the offense just was good. Sure, they punted it and weren't as good as they were against the Raiders where they didn't punt once. They had to punt it 5 times today, but the defense played good football for the most part. The offense played good football. If you take away the one possession where Skylar Thompson came in and freaking ruined everything, because it was going to be game over practically, and then he ruins everything. But either way, we'll talk about that later too. This Dolphins offense continues to absolutely dominate and show you why this team has a real shot to make a postseason run. When the offense is playing this well, as long as you can get average defensive play from this team, you're probably going to be able to win most of your games. Grade the Dolphins' performance today. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know your thoughts on how the Fins played today against the Patriots. I'm going to go A-. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't A or better because of some tough mishaps down the stretch, but it was very good for the most part. All right, let's break down Tua more in depth today because Tua Tagovailoa continues to be the father of the New England Patriots. Like, a lot of people call Josh Allen the father of the Miami Dolphins. Well, you can just say Tua is the father of the Patriots because he is now 7-0 in his career against the Patriots as a starter. He came into this game 6-0, and he added another 317 yards and 4 touchdowns. Once again, no turnovers for Tua either. He had a couple of plays that could have been turnovers at the end of the first half when the Dolphins had to settle for 3 instead of scoring a touchdown right at the end of the first half. But other than that, I thought Tua played basically a perfect game. He took what the defense gave him. He found gaps in man-to-man coverage, found gaps in zone coverage. Him and Jaylen Waddle finally connected on a lot of big plays, which was fun to see because Waddle's been quiet for most of the season. I mean, you are seeing MVP caliber play from Tua. MVP caliber. And I said it on our watch party midway through the third quarter when Tua threw his 4th touchdown to Jaylen Waddle. I said, is he the best player? No. Will he win MVP? Unlikely. But I think you can make a legit argument, and I would probably say it is the most likely argument, that Tua Tagovailoa has been the most valuable player in the NFL. And if you take it off of its pure name value of who brings the most valuable player, who brings the most value to their team? Tua. We've seen this Dolphins offense, which was the worst offense in football through the first 6 weeks of the season because of how bad it was in the 4 games that Tua was out. Now he comes back, and in the 5 games since Tua's return, they scored 30 points in back-to-back weeks. They've scored 23-plus every single game. They were averaging 28 points per game in the previous 4 games before this one. This is only going to go up. They're probably, I would have to crunch numbers, but they're probably averaging 30 points over the last 5 games since Tua's been back. They've been a top 5 offense in football. Tua's been unbelievably efficient. 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tagovailoa should be the MVP. He will not win it, but he should be because he was utterly awesome. All right, let's talk about Jaylen Waddle. real quick, and then we're going to talk. Actually, let's do the passing game as a whole. I know we just talked about Tua, but I want to talk about some of the weapons. Because Jaylen Waddle had his breakout game. He had over 100 yards in week 1 against the Jaguars, but has been really bottled up basically the rest of the way. He has also been one of the most unsure players in the NFL in terms of catching the football. What do I mean by that? Coming into this week, he was second in the NFL in drop percentage. The number 1 player in drop percentage was Amari Cooper, 18.3. Second, Jaylen Waddle, 12.5% drop rate. Horrific. Can't happen. Did not drop a single pass today. Caught 8 balls, 144 yards, and reached the end zone for the second time this season. The first time was against Buffalo in Week 9. So Waddle finally starting to find his stride here for the Miami Dolphins. You want to talk about finding their stride. How about Jonnu Smith, who has been Tua Tagovailoa's favorite target over the last 3 weeks? Think about it. He had only 3 catches for 45 yards against the Rams. But last week, 6 catches, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Today, 9 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Tua has been elite this season, or since coming back from IR, at analyzing the field, going through his progressions, and knowing where to go with the football. He has been laser sharp. He has been unbelievable. In the pass blocking of the Dolphins' offensive line has been good, but has been largely made good because of Tua's ability to get the ball out of his hands so quickly. And he does it by realizing what the defense is. His post-snap recognition has been phenomenal. He knows what the defense is doing before the play. He sees the safeties rotate the linebackers. He knows what he gets post-snap. And he knows, all right, well, they're in cover 2. Let me just find Jonnu Smith for a nice little 5-yard pitch. Oh, they're in cover 3. Oh, I know he's going to come across the middle, Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith has been the security blanket for Tua, which is what the Dolphins fans have always wanted from their tight end. They get it with Jonnu Smith. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Jonnu and Tua. Their connection continues to build, and I am just so excited to see this offense continue to hum as we progress through the season. All right, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I'm Nic Rohloff. We go live for every Dolphins game. We have videos every single day, sometimes 2 a day. Make sure you hit that sub button on the road to 65K subs. We will live on Thursday for the game against the Packers on Thanksgiving. Should be a fun one. Hit that sub button. All right, let's move over to the run game here. And this is the only concerning thing I have. Seriously. It's the only concerning thing that I have. Because the Dolphins still have been unable to run the football over the last 3 weeks. When the Dolphins changed their identity in the middle of the season, Week 5 against New England the first time around, Week 7 against the Colts, Week 8 against the Cardinals, Week 9 against the Bills. Those 4 games. The Dolphins' run offense was unbelievable. They were averaging 4.5 yards per carry. De'Von Achane was slicing up teams. Jalen Wright was even doing his part. But whatever reason, over the last 3 weeks, the run game of Miami has been abysmal. You saw it today. They averaged 2.7 yards per carry. That's not good. It's not acceptable. And it wasn't good against the Rams. It wasn't against the Raiders. They are playing good football as of late. And I said this week that the Dolphins' offense has been more sustainable to winning due to their ability to be more efficient and run the football. But I'm going to tell you what. If they can't get the run game rolling a little bit more in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be tough to go on the road and beat teams like Houston, like Green Bay. Tough environments, good teams. You got to be able to be multi-dimensional on offense. So I'd like to see the run game get rolling. De'Von Achane, you hope he gets rolling on the ground, but it's hard not to be happy with what he did through the air as a receiver. 2 touchdowns for Achane. He's just a red zone machine at scoring the ball. All right, let's move over to the defense now because they were pretty solid. Only allowed 267 yards. They were pretty solid against the run. They forced 2 turnovers. Strip sacking Drake May in the 3rd quarter, or was it the 4th quarter? No, I think it was the 3rd quarter. I can't remember off the top of my head. It was the 3rd quarter because then it set up the Tua touchdown to Jaylen Waddle. Great job by Zach Sealer to get there. And then the 2nd turnover where the Patriots got back into this game. They did. They were down 31-15 with the ball. And then Jalen Ramsey tipped the pass from Drake May. Tyrell Dodson got in and made the interception. And it was awesome to see that. And then they kicked the field goal and officially iced the game. This Dolphins defense continues to play decent football. I'm not going to act like it's the best defense of all time, but they continue to do enough every single week. And the part that is the most happy and encouraging to me is the added pass rush. The Dolphins had 4 sacks. Remember, guys, the Dolphins had 9 sacks through the first, I think, 8 games or 9 games of the season. They have, I believe, 4. So they have 11 sacks over the last 3 games. That's how you win football games. 11 sacks over the last 3 games after only having, I think, 9 or 10 through the first 6 or 7. This Dolphins pass rush is getting home. Chop Robinson, 1.5 sacks again. Emmanuel Ogbah with a sack. Zach Sealer with a sack. And Jalen Ramsey with a sack. Love what I'm seeing from this Dolphins pass rush. All right, what was your biggest takeaway from this game? Mine is how effective Tua has been offensively in throwing the football. It's been a blast to watch him work over the past couple of weeks. Really like what I've seen. Let me know yours. All right, before we close out of here, I want to show an updated AFC playoff picture and also mention a quick injury note. This is going into today, so this is not updated. I want that very clear. This is not updated after the games. We'll have it updated tomorrow. But with the Dolphins winning, they get to 5-6. The Colts lost, they're 5-7. So Miami is now the first team out of the postseason. They're the 8th seed if it was right now. The Denver Broncos are currently playing the Raiders. You want to root for the Raiders to win that game because if the Broncos lose, you're only a half game back of tying the Broncos in the postseason standing. So just make sure if you are rooting for a game right now, rooting against the Broncos, let's go Raiders. We are big-time Raiders fans. Let's go Las Vegas. All right. Before we get out of here, a couple notes. Injury notes. Anthony Walker Jr. left this game in the first half. Tyrell Dodson, the player that Miami claimed a week and a half ago from the Seahawks after he was waived, stepped up and was the linebacker alongside Jordan Brooks. Dodson, I actually think I played a really good game. Dodson finished this one with 5 tackles, 2 of them solo, a pass defense, a PBU, also an interception on that tip from Jalen Ramsey. So Dodson played well. We'll have to be on the lookout if Anthony Walker Jr. is ready to go for the game on Thursday against the Packers. Other injury news is the only other one that I can really think of is De'Von Achane. De'Von Achane left the game in the midway point of the third quarter. Looked like he was not going to return, but ultimately on the final drive of the game for Miami's offense, he did return and get a couple carries, so it doesn't look like Achane's injury is that serious. He'll probably be on the injury report for this Thursday's game against the Packers, and I hope that he's able to play because he's absolutely necessary. I believe that is really the only other injury news for Miami coming out of this game. I did want to mention this, and I want to shout out to our sponsor, Mellow, because I am going to stay mellow throughout this week. Why am I staying mellow? Because, well, the Dolphins play the Packers this Thanksgiving on Thursday Night Football. It's supposed to be 30 degrees out. It's a primetime game at the end of the night, and it's going to be absolutely freezing. The Dolphins have been unable to go on the road and beat a good team in a cold weather environment since Tua and Mike McDaniel joined forces 2 years ago. When asked about playing in the cold on Thanksgiving against Green Bay, post-game, Tua said, "I'm excited to kill narrative. Let's go. Bring it on." So if you're worried, have a mellow on Tua because he is not worried. He's excited to go kill the narratives. So you know what? Let's go kill the narratives. Let's go Fins. Let's go beat the Packers on Thursday, get to 6-6, and be right in the playoff hunt. All right, that's going to do it for today's post-game instant reaction. I'll see you tomorrow with a couple videos, and we'll have videos on Tuesday. We'll have videos on Wednesday, leading up to our live show on Thursday on Thanksgiving against the Green Bay Packers. Biggest game of the season. This is going to be the true test of this team. If you're able to win this game in Green Bay, everybody in the league knows you're for real about making the postseason, and I'd actually put you in the driver's seat to make the playoffs, assuming that you take care of business against the Jets and Browns the rest of the season. It's going to be a fun one. Buckle up, folks. This is what it's all about.